talk about today?
Well, we had a couple ideas. First of all, welcome to the show, Young and Checkless. I was thinking that we could do this.
She's so good at that.
Right? Well, oh, sorry.
No.
That's not what I was saying.
So
Right.
official, yeah.
Young and
Welcome to
Checkless.
Young and Checkless.
Okay, so this is what I was thinking about doing. It just made me laugh because we were talking the other day about Friends, right?
Yes.
And did you like Friends?
No.
Me either.
I
Me either.
loved
Okay,
it.
thank you. 2 of the 3 did
Why
not
is
like
it
Friends.
that you guys don't like it?
I just never liked it, but I have a point in bringing up Friends. So
Okay, yeah, proceed.
okay, well, I didn't want to
Time minute.
I didn't want to interrupt because so we were talking about Friends the other day and how I didn't like it. And you're like, I liked it. But I was watching this guy on Instagram. He has a TikTok. He's viral on TikTok. His name on Instagram is Julian Cookies. And he's a performer and he's so funny.
Where are those Girl Scout cookies?
They're in the kitchen. Don't you move. We're going to take a break and you can move.
Okay.
So anyway, we're only like a minute and a half in, so best you be careful.
You
Okay.
should keep that in.
Right, we will.
Hot mess.
So anyway, so Julian Cookies, he's viral on TikTok and Instagram for his recreations, his one-man recreations of like movie scenes. So I saw him
that
because
guy you were showing
Diane
me.
Keaton, yeah. So
Yes,
he
I
did
saw
the
the
First Wives Club.
Yeah.
Diane Keaton shared it, so I found him, and then I've been watching all of his videos, and they make me so happy. Last night, Sounds of the City, the helicopter, the police are looking for somebody.
It's me. They're looking for me.
You'd think that we live in like the most ghetto place ever, but we don't.
I mean, it's Hollywood.
So anyway, so Julian, he also he does recreations of movie scenes, right? And they're like perfect. It's so he's just flawless, right? And so anyway, he was doing one that was a scene from Friends. It's like when Rachel and Phoebe lived together for a little bit or whatever, and they're doing their voicemail, and it's like you've reached Phoebe and Rachel, but they're going word by word. So it would be like, hi, welcome to Young in Checkless, right? I would say, you would say, but you would get the end. But in the scene, she goes, hi, you've reached Rachel or whatever she says. And then Phoebe goes, Rachel. And she's like, wait, why'd you say that? Well, you're supposed to say Anne. She's like, well, you have all the good words. And I was like, oh, that has stuck with me. Even though I didn't like the show. The show, I guess, had some iconic moments. So whatever. Anyway, that's the intro to the show.
I love this show.
So what's on the docket for today? I ordered Girl Scout cookies from that troop in New York City that helps the girls who are experiencing homelessness and extreme poverty. And I was very surprised that they got to me as fast as they did. They got to me within like a week, even though they said my delivery was going to be delayed. And I
Better than Amazon.
pretty much like in these dark times, I ordered 5 boxes of Girl Scout cookies. I am one person trying to lose 50 pounds. Why the hell did I order 5 boxes of Girl Scout
I tell
cookies?
you, they are their own little mafia. Like, I'm telling you, there's drugs in the cookies, and they send those little girls out. They are entrepreneurs.
I mean, they really are. I mean, I was in Girl Scouts for a couple of years, and one of the things that they teach you in Girl Scouts is how to be an effective leader. That's probably why I'm so strong today. Shout out Girl Scouts of the Southeast Coast. What up? Do they
was in
still
Boy
exist? You're in Boy Scouts?
Yeah, I can't remember why. I really liked going camping.
But what's
I
that
don't
song? What's that Bette Midler song? For the Boys? That movie, For the Boys.
I have no.
You never saw that movie?
No, there's a lot of movies I haven't seen. Every time you ask me if I've seen a movie, I feel so dumb because I'm like, no.
Don't feel dumb. We have just had different experiences, and that's what being 30 is all about.
Okay, I'm not 30 until November.
Right. That's our time.
But I'm
just
super
mess-
excited for it.
I'm
Anyways,
just messing with
What were
you.
we talking about?
But we're going to talk about you were talking about Mercury being
Mercury
in
and
retrograde.
Well, just because you had said something to me, because 2 days in a row now
It was
I've
a
had
joke.
to. Well, I was like, first of all, I don't even really know what that means, but I see
Like
people.
it looks like it's going backwards, right?
Yeah, it looks like the
yeah.
planet its rotation is going
Spinning,
the different way.
yeah.
The different way.
So then, do people act crazy?
yes.
Yeah.
Does that
And there
make
is something to
sense?
be said because, like, you shouldn't. I have a very, very low level knowledge of this because, as we all know, I know a little bit about a lot of things. And one of the things I know is that you shouldn't sign new contracts. You shouldn't get into new relationships. You shouldn't go revisit
wanna be
You shouldn't
loved.
revisit the past. And a lot of these things are like things that you should just normally do anyway. But you shouldn't revisit the past. You shouldn't sign new business contracts. You shouldn't try to start new relationships. And electronics and like car problems always seem to happen in retrograde.
Oh my gosh,
Because
I
it affects the
literally
like electronic, the
Magnetic.
electromagnetic pulses of
Yeah.
the world.
I spent 20 minutes trying to get my Bluetooth headphones to hook up to my phone, and I was like, what the hell is going on?
And funny enough, one of our coworkers from Universal can explain this really, really well. Shout out to Tony Noto. He actually can really explain retrograde and like the tides of the moon affecting the tides. Like, I've never heard before in my life. But I remember the feeling I had when he explained it to some people, but I can't remember what he said.
Like an awakening.
It was, but I don't remember like what exactly he said. So
You've
shout
been
out to
touched
Tony.
by an angel, girl.
Anyway, so
Well, the only reason why I said that is because you said Mercury in retrograde, and if that does put things in upheaval, it's like the last 2 days consecutively, yesterday and today, I've had to like essentially put somebody in their place.
well, you set your boundaries and stood up for yourself.
Well, yes, of course. Well, yes, that is true.
And we can go, if you want to continue to talk about boundaries and setting boundaries and stuff. I know we had like a little plan, but I'm liking where this is going. What? Why are you
Well,
lying? Because
Sorry,
I feel
I'm
like
chewing my cookie.
in the chew that cookie, girl.
I am.
I feel like all of us in the past, like year, especially COVID times.
Yeah, I think 2020 people set boundaries. And like
You had to.
2021 is like I set my boundaries and do not cross my boundaries, and if
I feel
you
like-
cross it,
yeah.
something's gonna happen.
I feel like 2020 was our boundary setting year and really discovering what we needed and wanted. And 2021 is the get your shit together year. I think that's what it is. I think 2021 is
I'll
a get
be
your shit
30 this
together.
year. Oh.
Like, it's
I
a
feel
lot
like-
of change.
Yeah, I think like 2021, but I think a lot of people in 2020 got their self together.
Oh my
Just
gosh,
like-
yes.
Yes.
People
yes.
were like getting out of bad situations.
yeah.
I mean, myself especially, I got out of a bad relationship. Like,
Me
people
too.
are finding the loves of their lives. People are deciding that their career is wrong and they're pursuing different things. Like, I thought it was very wonderful.
You know what I loved about 2020,
What?
other than all of that, was that people finally discovered that they were not their jobs, and their jobs were not who they are.
That was the thing.
And
for
that was
me.
really beautiful to watch a lot of people do. And also, it was really beautiful to see people actually pursuing things that they wanted to be pursuing. And I know that it wasn't perfect for everybody. It was downright miserable and difficult for a lot of people. But when I say like 2021 is the year of get your shit together, it's like the 2020 people did get themselves together and they were able to take time and set boundaries and stuff, but like they were able to put themselves together in 2020 and manifest it for 2021 to actually
Right.
put tangible things
Or
and
just,
physical things
yeah,
into place.
or just like self-reflection.
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
when the world stopped and you were with these people for like an infinite amount of days, you're like, I have made some bad decisions in
my
my
gosh.
life. Or like, not even like I have made bad decisions, but like people were finding out their country was messed up. Like,
Yes.
They
there
were
was
forced to
so
look at
much.
it. And we actually, because I had never had I am a white person. I am a white person in America. I have a set of privilege that comes with that. Doesn't mean my life was privileged, but it means that I have a sense that I had privilege that came with being white. Even though that is true, I never had the ability to go to marches, go protest, go be a part of these things because I didn't have the ability, because I didn't have the money to be able to take the day off work, or could I get the day off work because I would get fired if I missed a certain amount of days. I mean, we all know that. But in 2020, I was able to be like, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, donate to these causes, go out and support them, go out and march, be with my queer brethren, go be with my brothers and sisters who do not look like me, and actually participate in affecting change. And that felt really, really good to be able to do that.
I think, yeah, because everything was silent. And so then people had all this amount of time and then they had the internet, and then it was like everything exploded because everything, like especially in the United States, everything has been on a powder keg since the inception of the United States.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's like we're on a powder keg and people are trying to survive like in the Black community on top of this whole like pandemic, and it just kind of erupted. And then like that eruption just brought massive change because like 2021, nobody's playing around anymore.
I know.
It's like
We're setting boundaries for ourselves. We're participating in the change that we want to see.
oh yeah,
Pursuing our goals.
We're pursuing our
But
goals.
this is
I
like
love this
a-
journey for us.
it's like a global thing. Like we had a global pandemic, and now it's like a global like understanding. Like Holland's sitting government all resigned.
Yes.
over a child sex scandal.
Yeah, that
I-
and welfare scandal.
Yeah.
They up and quit. I didn't even know that a government could just resign. I'm like, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing either. I never heard of it. But like, we are so many of us all over the world are not standing for shit anymore.
Which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
The thing is like I think what happened, at least
You're squishing Baby Yoda.
at a majority, it's like when we had to stop working and we had to be alone with our thoughts or with our situations, we were forced to deal with and look at the things that we were not willing to do and distracting ourselves at the time with our jobs. I know that was for me. I know a lot of people I've talked to, it was for them too. You were forced to deal with the mess that you kept sweeping under the rug.
And not even just like your jobs, but just like day-to-day things.
Yes.
Like you cannot go outside. So like you're stuck.
Yep.
So it really like made you reflect on your life choices.
Yeah, and again, like we know it's not perfect. Like for it's not perfect, but having the time to reflect is invaluable. And I don't know about you, but I found a bunch of my friends that are women and women identifying really took the challenge and really were able to look at themselves, change their situations, change their lives, really turn themselves around, and they are thriving.
I know.
But
it makes
the
me so happy to
men,
see people are
like
thriving.
lots of the men that I know, and this is not science, this is my opinion and my experience, but a lot of the men
Feminist agenda.
a lot of the men that I know, specifically straight men, did not know how to handle it. They're like, oh my God, I feel so miserable and I don't know, when am I ever going to be able to date again? When am I ever going to be able to go out and live again? This is so depressing and so upsetting. I just don't know what to do. I'm going to just crumble. And they Thanos themselves. They snapped themselves out of existence, you know? And they
Well,
just, they,
I think men have been conditioned to essentially be the ones that go out and work and do this shit and blah blah blah.
even though nobody can survive on a one-income household.
But also,
Well, that is for another time.
That's for another
That
time.
is well, I felt that. But yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I think it kind of put everybody on the same playing field because it was like, I think a lot of guys, in my opinion, like you were saying, like they have been structured to be the person who like hunts and like provides for their
Right.
family.
Yes.
And then you cannot provide for your family financially. So what, like
What's my worth?
Your worth is wrapped into your financially being able to provide. So what do you do?
Exactly.
I think that women are insanely strong for a variety of reasons, but one of those reasons is that it's generally okay for them to express emotions, whereas men are not supposed to be necessarily emotional. And I think that men tend to be a lot more fragile because they have all of this pent-up stuff inside that they're not freely able to express. Because when you're a man, you're not supposed to show any type of vulnerability, because if you show vulnerability, then that's a weakness, and then you're quote-unquote less of a man.
Yeah, I think it is like a catch-22. And even like for men, like don't show emotions because it's a weakness, but like also for women, if you're too strong, like if you don't show any emotion, you're an ice queen.
Right.
If you show too much emotion, then you're unstable. So
Exactly.
both.
You're always too, as a woman, you're always too much or too little. Too much or not enough. Over the top or not enough. You're never in the middle. And that's that's a bigger discussion.
Yeah,
we
and
could
so
go on forever.
What meter are men measured on? Dick size.
I think it's like
It's
just
a lot less.
show like not showing emotion, but in
Being
like
absent.
in 2020, the world stopped, and so you had to deal with your emotions.
Exactly. And a lot of people couldn't do that. And I found that the people that truly, really loved themselves and knew who they were, they're the ones that
That are
really,
thriving.
really are thriving and push through and have created a better world for themselves and those that they care about.
What I think is that we are just so wrong in how we approach how we handle our vulnerabilities, because I think that when you are vulnerable when you share a moment of struggle with them, you're so much stronger because you create a bond between two people. So if I share something that has happened to me with you, you share something that has happened to you with me, we get closer, and that strengthens the relationship. And I think that vulnerability is actually true strength.
I agree.
Oh, absolutely. But if you think about humans, like we are in the business of self-preservation.
Yes.
So vulnerability is exposing yourself, which is not in the business of self-preservation.
And it's funny that you say that because humans are by nature into self-preservation, but we constantly go against our better interest. Like within this past year, we are still 2 feet deep, February 2021, in this global pandemic that we can't seem to shake because we're going against our own self-interest. But that is a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, I
on
think
top of
that's
it.
Western culture for
I
you.
think that is too.
That's
I think
Western culture.
I think there's so many things tied into that. Some of it's like a bit of selfishness. I
'Cause
think some of it
yeah.
is like a bit of stir craziness, where it's like you just don't know what to do with yourself anymore, and you've got to go somewhere. I mean, like, I can't say that I am guiltless, but I have done my best to adhere to all the guidelines and to be safe wherever I go and to wash my hands and things. But it's the hardest thing that has happened, or the hardest part about this whole experience, is that you can be the safest person in the world, but you are still reliant on someone else being safe too. And that's where the real issue lies, is that we can't really trust each other.
I think it's because our culture is I first and
Yes.
we never.
And also, it also is, if I give to you, that's taking away from me. That's not adding
Right.
to us both. And I'm of the mind where if I help you or give you something, it's not taking away from me.
We
'Cause
lift
we're
all-
lifting everybody
That's
up.
The
exactly
tide
We
lifts
will be
all
better.
boats.
Yes.
Exactly.
And whether you believe in whatever God you believe in, whatever religion you practice, or you don't practice anything, you know that God or whoever doesn't just pick and choose who that they love. So if you're practicing under that kind of guise, then why wouldn't you love everybody and want to help them also?
I love everybody. I told one of my coworkers one time that I felt like I could love every single human in the world, and he's like, "Oh, well, you won't even meet 1% of the world." And I said, "Well, that doesn't matter." I said, "I love you, and I haven't met your mother or your father, and I have to love them too, because for me, who I think I am as a person, I think I am like this combination of all of my experiences and encounters with others. Because people, we shape each other. We shape each other constantly, you know? I mean, I guess, representation of that would be like, just picking up like a quirk from your friend, We shape each other daily.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to know who I am, I know that I am this combination of all these people. And that's what I told him. I said, well, because I love you, I know that if I am to view you the same as me, you must also be this combination of all of these people that you've encountered in your life. And so I appreciate them because you are the way that you are, because of who you have been around with and what has happened to you. And when I looked at it that way, it just, you could extend it out forever, you know? Because it's like, I don't know, it's like the ripple effect or whatever. It's like, I appreciate you, Christian, and your mother because of, you know, she made you and everybody who came into contact with your mother, and it just goes on and out. And so I think if you love somebody, you have to love everybody too that has ever done anything to them, good or bad. Because I think we're all connected to each other.
Well, absolutely.
That sounds great. I think we should take a break.
Yeah?
We'll be right back.
All right.
Anyway, okay, we're back. So I have a question for everybody.
Tell me what you think about me. I'm sorry.
I just have a question for everybody. So in relation to what we're talking about, it seems like we're just kind of like recapping what's happened and where we are from last year this time in 2020 to 2021. We are dating ourselves.
I'm about to marry myself.
Right. So always date yourself. Always buy yourself the flowers. Always buy yourselves the cookies. Always buy yourselves the 5 boxes of Girl Scout cookies and share them with your friends.
Eat the whole pizza and tell everyone.
Eat the whole pizza and tell everyone. Don't feel bad about it. Live your best life. Live your truth. However, so since this podcast is young and checkless, what do you feel? Checkless. What do you feel that the last year has brought to the forefront or realization for you? Like, what does it mean in this context that we're talking about? What does it mean to be young and checkless?
Christian. Go for it.
I mean, Christian, I feel like you're the one that kind of came up with the name.
We both did.
You both
Yeah,
did?
we kind of both did.
You both did. I like it. I came onto this project later. So that's why I was...
It's like a play on Young and the Restless. Young and
Yeah.
Checkless.
Just like,
I can, but you're far away.
She's back there chilling.
I think we just came up with it just because, like, just we're both, like, from other places, moving to LA and just learning how to, like, deal with living in Los Angeles and being broke and how
Difficult.
how that works and, like, how do you, like, navigate through that world and be successful in the entertainment industry, which is...
So you both came to work in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
I actually did not. I moved here because a friend lived out here. She moved here to be an actress, and she wanted me to move out here with her, and I really didn't have any actual plans after I graduated college. And so I was like, okay, so I moved to LA, and because I had been working in costumes, I pursued that because I could do it. So yeah, I didn't really have aspirations to work in entertainment. It's just that is what I knew, and that's what I pursued.
Because you grew up in South Carolina, right?
Yes.
You're like born and bred.
South Carolina.
Ding, 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 ding.
And then you grew up in Missouri.
Yeah,
From
in the
Missouri.
Midwest. Yeah,
And you
born
grew
and
up
raised.
in Virginia.
I grew up in Virginia. However, I will say that where I grew up in Virginia is like the fake South. Because I grew up in Virginia Beach. And that is...
Someone who is from Virginia Beach is going to hear this and they're going to leave a bad review.
I mean, they are because there's 2 types of people in Virginia Beach. There's the beach people.
Sailors and baristas.
Well, there's the beach. There's the beach people and there's the inland people. And the inland people are much different than the beach people. And the beach people are much different than the Princess Anne people. And there's like 3 kinds of people. So there's people that like grow up on like acreage of farm in Virginia Beach, but you're like 10 minutes away from the Atlantic Ocean. There's people who live at the beach, like the ocean front, the proper ocean front, and they're the beach people, riding their beach cruisers all day long, doing cocaine, going to the bars every night, going to the Block. The Block is a block of bars.
Virginia Beach.
Oh my God, Nose
Literally-
Candy Central.
Literally, when I moved out here, I was like, cocaine is everywhere.
I mean, cocaine is everywhere, period. But in Virginia Beach, at one point it was very, very popular. I don't want to get into too much drug talk because I have never done that stuff in my life. I really haven't. I've never had any desire. I've been around a lot of people who have. It's just never been something that I wanted to partake in.
I've always been afraid my heart would explode.
I mean, I've always been afraid that
Honestly.
something would happen. Like, when I was a teenager, side note, when I was a teenager, I was getting in the car with my dad. I think I was 17 or 18. I was getting in the car with my dad, and there was a marijuana pipe on the dashboard, and he saw it, because I looked and I said, "What's that?" And he goes, "What the hell?" And I went, What is it?" I said, "Is that a crack pipe?" And the passenger side window had been broken for a while, so the window was down. So maybe somebody did take it and put it in the dash and like was running from somebody or like hiding it or whatever.
Oh, they was just trying to
Right.
hotbox somewhere special.
But no. So my dad screamed and yelled at me and said, "Is this one of your friends? Where the hell did this come from?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know." He goes, "You put that in the trash right now." And so I went and I like put it by the, or no, excuse me, I didn't put it by the trash. He went and said he threw it away. And I saw him like lift up the trash can, but I saw him bend over.
But the truth is, it was actually his.
The truth is, later on in my life, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, I asked my dad, I said, "You remember that one time you scared the shit out of me about talking about a crack pipe on the dashboard of that little white car that you drove?" And he's like, "Oh yeah." And he starts laughing. He starts laughing his ass off. And I said, "Was that yours?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Oh my God, I knew it.
And I was just like, "Dad."
Because he smoked pot.
He smokes pot.
I smoked pot.
My dad's
lot
a
in
hippie.
college. I smoked pot a lot in college after my mom passed away. Like, I started before, and then after I kind of went a little reckless. You know?
We all have those moments. Like,
I
we
would
all have
clean
a
out
vice
a
of some
freaking
sort.
snack machine.
Yours was coffee. Mine was alcohol. Yours was marijuana.
Everything.
Marijuana.
Not everything as in drugs, but like I did go a little crazy.
Yeah. Oh, look, my neighbor again is thumping house EDM music. How nice. But anyway, my point in talking about that was,
What did we start on?
we started on why it's Young and Checkless.
Oh, yeah.
And like where we're from and stuff. I just want to like,
And then we progressed to drugs.
I mean, it always goes to drugs and alcohol. We want to be rock stars. But I was asking, you wanted to work.
What's your dream?
You wanted to work in entertainment.
Yes.
And you always wanted to work in entertainment, or no?
When I moved here before, I wanted to work in entertainment. But as I have got here, like I've always wanted to be a costume designer when I switched my major to costume. But like I never really understood the entertainment industry until you're in it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's like some of the things you don't even need to go to school, so you have thousands of dollars in debt for no reason.
My gosh, yes.
But like there's so many people who are so talented that never see the light of day.
Absolutely.
And then there's so many people who are very successful in this industry who have no talent.
Mm-hmm.
They just know someone who knows someone who like gets them this job. And so
Somebody told me once, because my main thing is acting and writing. Somebody once said, and it stuck with me, and I'll often say it in the way that they say it, but the hardest part about this business is learning that nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about you
I
and your
care.
level of talent. I'm talking about the business.
I know.
Right.
Nobody cares about you, your level of talent, anything. It's what can you provide to them.
One of the things that was a real big eye-opener for me was when I first moved here, because like I said, I moved here with my friend who wanted to become an actress. She's very talented. She's very talented, and she missed out on several opportunities because she didn't have the right amount of followers on Instagram.
I think that's changing now.
I hope so, but I was so upset because I was like,
because I've been in this business a long time as an actor, and there have only been a very few number of things that have ever said that they want to know your social media following. Because also now, social media is a much more double-edged sword than it used to be, because you could say one thing and a client not want to work with you. You can do another
That's
thing.
true.
And so sometimes people like to separate themselves by having a personal page and a professional page, but I'm telling you that like, I would say about 6 years ago or so that was the case, but it's moving away from that now. There are trends
I've
in the
only lived
industry.
here 5 years, for less than 5 years, so it had to happen while I was still here.
Then it has, because there's trends. There are trends in the industry. They change. They ebb and flow all the time. Just like that meme I showed you the other day of all the white dudes standing next to each other. That they're all just a bunch of generic white dudes with the same kind of angular shaped face.
All in the same
It's like
show.
all in the same show. Well,
I'm
that's
telling you, when I looked at that picture, literally
Yeah.
my eyes went crazy.
Because
I
it's
felt
like
it
it
was
looks like the
blurring
same
out.
person. They look like the same person, and I mean, yes, they're not the same person, obviously, but they look very similar. So that's a trend. At the time that they were on a particular show, that was the trend. The trend was like
The
that
look.
kind of
Yeah.
look. Now casting is going toward more real people. So people who aren't, I hate using this terminology, but a LA-10. Things
Well, I'm
are
about
changing.
to be a movie star then.
So it's just, I mean, but it's a business and not everybody can handle it, because we are, like, as artists, the three of us included, you are told and taught that you go to school, you do well in school, those professors that do things in your school, outside of school, will have you do something. If you get good grades, they'll let you do XYZ. Then they'll connect you with an internship where you may get a good job, and then you can start working for the head costume designer, for example,
Right.
of some other thing. But that's not how it works. And the
Yeah.
business is just,
Or
it, it takes a lot to switch your mind, especially if you're a creative person. Not very many creative people know how to be a business person.
Well, yeah, because
We
like if
don't
you
think that way, really.
if you come
And
like
if you're not taught it, how can you know what you don't know?
coming from like the Midwest, you are instilled in these values. Like, I get to where I want to be based on my like meritocracy,
Yeah.
like how hard I work,
Yeah.
and that is not how it works out here.
No.
No,
It is like it's completely different, and it's so hard to like explain that to your family who like have built their life on meritocracy. They're like, I don't understand like how 1 month you are working on stop and the next 4 months you have no work. Like, it just
Yeah.
is this ebb and flow
Yeah.
type of reality. It's not who you know, it's who knows you
Yeah.
enough to remember you in those production meetings.
Yeah.
Because I know when I moved here and I wanted to take like a year to do like a certificate for costume designing, because I graduated with a fashion degree. I went to a school here in LA, and I was like, oh, this is really cool because they're known to like, you have hands-on experience and you can be working on set, blah, 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 blah,
Was
blah.
it letter initials?
They're all letter initials.
But that one.
Yeah. And so I'm
Wait, what
like
do you mean, that one?
living my
We'll say off air.
I'm living
the
my
school name?
best life. I have my
R.
portfolio, I have like my transcript. I go in there and I have a degree. And so I'm like, I'm here because I want to do this like 1 year certification.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And so
I'm here.
she's like, okay, well, since you have a fashion, like whatever, but you didn't go to a technical fashion school, you went to a state school, you have to take all of these classes again.
No.
And I was like, what do you mean I have to take all these classes? And so she's like, well, our students do this. And I open my portfolio and I'm like, you mean this?
Yeah.
And so I'm showing her everything. And so she literally says, like, what can I do for you? Because you've already done it. And I was
And you're like, I want the certificate.
but I want to be in the costume. And she's like, you have all of the qualifications, but because you didn't go to a bougie school, we are not going to let you like jump this thing. So it was pretty much like, we're just here to take your money.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exactly what it is.
so that you can move. And then it's so crazy because then you have all these qualifications.
Right.
And because you didn't go to a letter school, then people don't want to hire you, even though you have more qualifications than those people who went to the letter school.
It's like that so it's kind of reverse now with acting, right? So there's people that will go to a 4-year school, or they'll go to a 2-year conservatory, or they'll go to a 4-year conservatory program. They get out of school, they know every single thing about Shakespeare and Chekhov and Tennessee Williams. They know all the great plays and everything, but they haven't been taught lickety split about working in the entertainment industry. They've been studying plays for 4 years, and then they get into the real world, and nobody wants to hear that stuff. Nobody.
It's a business.
It's a business. Nobody wants to hear that. And also, if you go to New York and do theater, yeah, sure, whatever. But the people that work the technical side and the people that work in the that are the ones that are casting, they may love theater and stuff, but they again don't want to hear about it, and they're over it. They're like, they hate it. Like there's some people that I know that are like direct.
They hate theater?
They do. They are not into theater.
They're not.
They are into making art and making films, and
It's a business.
It's a business.
No,
Yeah, it is.
It's
Yes,
a business into me.
yes, but there are still people that are artistic, but in different ways. And if they're third generation, if they're a third generation director from a directing family, then they don't want directing films and television. They don't want to go direct a theater. They don't want to do theater. They want to keep doing film.
There's no money in theater.
There's
I
no
know,
real
it's so
money in
sad.
theater.
There's no
I mean,
real money.
even the people that, I did a couple opera shows in Virginia with some people that were actors in New York, and they lived in New York. They lived the Broadway life. They were ensemble. One of them has been in Chicago for the past 10 years or so on Broadway, and that's his main job. That's what he's been doing, living in New York City. But he still had to take a contract job for the Virginia Opera at one point because he needed the money, he needed the show, because he's still it's not paying you enough.
Because I know that we were talking about when we came up with the name Young and Checkless, working for no money. Literally, not a little money, but zero amount. And you see all of these people who make millions and millions of dollars, and then it's oh, I need work, I need help on this film or whatever, but I'm not going to pay you.
Yes.
But I require you to work 60, 80 hours a week. And I'm who in their right mind, unless my family are billionaires,
Right.
are going to support me
Right.
with my $1,600 a month rent and all this kind of stuff, living in LA and not working 60, 80 hours a week and not getting paid.
Yeah, and we were talking about this the other day, you and I were, Matt, about how if I want to go make a movie with my friends and I tell everybody that I want to make a movie with you, we all come up with this thing, we all decide to do it, and we're not making it to get paid, then that's one thing. But it's another thing to go work for somebody I'm not going to mention, but who has a really fancy house, is coming under a lot of criticism on TikTok and Twitter and Instagram and stuff, who has an elevator in their house and stuff, who doesn't pay their dancers. So you have people like that
Oh, yeah.
who have the money, who have more money than God, and they still aren't
God
paying.
doesn't need money. He didn't make that, we did.
That wasn't the point,
I know,
but
I'm just saying.
anyway.
Speaking of money, I know that Matt and I have had this conversation.
So many times.
And so we always talk about, he is on the side of money is bad.
People have made it bad, I think.
And I am on the side, you can correct me if I'm wrong about your side. I'm on the side that money is a tool and money is not bad. It's a tool that you can do good or evil for. It's the person wielding the tool to make it good or bad.
You're absolutely right.
I agree with you.
It's not that I think I'm starting to lean more and more towards your
You
view
have
of
to
it.
stay closer to your microphone.
Of your view of it being a tool, because I was reading that book about like wealth. But you're right. The thing is, like, money usually is the thing that makes people so nasty to each other that I see. And that's why it bothers me, because it's like, why are we working so hard to get a gigantic bank account and all of these, like, fancy cars and a big house to, like, die and leave it all behind?
I think if you boil it down, because I think a lot of people talk about money, it's not money, it's security. And like, there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. Like,
Absolutely.
people are wealthy, they don't look at, here, let me hoard all of this money for me.
Or things.
Or things.
Yes.
Most people who are wealthy do not have all of these like contraptions and all that kind of stuff. They're looking at their future generation and how can I bring those future generations up higher than where I'm
That's
at.
what I would want to do.
I've found that people who are wealthy, they're wealthy in all sorts of different ways, right? They've created multiple streams of income, first of all, residual income.
Goals.
And they have also...
Necessity.
But they also invest in things, whether that is, stock market mess, that's a whole nother story. Whether it's stock market stuff or it's like these material things that will last for a long time. Mm-hmm. Because I read this a long time ago, and I believe it to a degree, where if you buy cheap things, poor people or people that have money problems stay poor because they buy cheap things. And I believe that to some degree. So if you know that there's a product, like, let me go with clothes, because I know clothes. I just got rid of a bunch. If you buy a $12, I don't even know if they exist anymore, but they used to back in the day. If you buy a $12 pair of jeans from Forever 21 versus buying a pair of Levi's that are $50 for a pair, the Forever 21 jeans are probably going to blow out in your crotch much sooner than the Levi's jeans, and so you're going to have to pay $12 more 3 times over before you ever have to replace those Levi pair of jeans, if you don't gain or lose weight. True. Just in general. So you'll hang on to that for a longer period of time instead of having $12.99 sucked away from you every couple of months. It's not a perfect analogy, but it's the one that comes to the top of my head.
It works because, like, a lot of people who are poor, people spend so much money trying to, like, puff themselves up to give them their self-worth. Like, they are not poor. They're not in poverty or low income. Versus, like, if you are secure in yourself, you don't have to flaunt your wealth.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Because true wealthy people, like, if you look at like what they dress, like what they wear, their houses, all that kind of stuff is pretty like plain. Now there are some people who are millionaires, but I'm talking about billionaires.
Right.
They are very streamlined because they don't need to flaunt their wealth, because why do I need it? I have it. So what's the point of flaunting it?
You said something before, Erin, that it's expensive to be poor.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It really is. I mean, it really is. One of the things that I get so upset about is when I used to live downtown, I didn't have parking.
I'm going to glue that microphone to your mouth.
When I used to live downtown, I didn't have parking, and so I would constantly get parking tickets because I was working 7 to 10 jobs just to pay for my glorified storage unit that was my apartment because I was never in it. But street sweeping tickets or parking tickets in general, they upset me. I know it's not always the case, but it's like within 5 minutes of me trying to run to my car to move it, the city has made $73 because I haven't gotten there in time.
Yeah.
Do you know how long it takes me to pay that ticket?
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, people who can afford to pay parking tickets have parking.
Yeah.
they have homes with a parking space.
And if they
So
get
it's-
if they park in a space they know they're not supposed to, they're like, oh, well, I get a ticket, I'll just pay it tomorrow or whenever, or, they don't care.
Exactly. And I think it's so messed up.
Because the middle class and the lower class is the engine of our economy. Because we are the one who pay the most taxes. We don't have write-offs as much as the upper 1%. And so if you convince a large group of people that in order to show your worth is to spend money, you create this frenzy of buying things, and then you intentionally make products that do not last so that you continue to buy things.
Yep, exactly.
Doesn't the iPhone do that?
Yes and no. Yes and no. It also, as far as the iPhone goes, or smartphones go, they've changed so much in the past few years. For a while, they were making some really, really fast advances in what they were and what they are. And I think that as we move into a more digital society, as we already have, more and more people want to make content, and the easiest and quote cheapest way for people to make content is to get a phone with a camera that is so good that they don't have to go buy cameras. Because photographers will always photograph with cameras, right? Somebody that wants to make cute, fun videos for the internet, they're gonna go buy their $1,000 iPhone that they just pay every month. And that's something else. That's something else too. But yeah, it's along the same lines as what you're saying. Also, another good example I can think of. So if you get, Amazon Prime, I know we're all supposed to be mad at Amazon. Amazon Prime, the payment for it used to be $100 a year, right? That's what you paid for Amazon Prime, and you got music and videos and all the streaming that they offered, all the movies and stuff, and your delivery, for $100 a year. And then it went up to $120, and I think it's up to $140
Really?
now, something like that. I don't know, but not everybody does, because if you still have a student ID, you can get it for $50 a year, and then and then also if you are on public assistance, if you get food stamps at all, you can get it for $5 a month.
Get out.
I'm not lying about this.
Wait, but $5 a month is still a lot.
That's where I'm going with this. I promise I have a point. I promise I have a point. So it's $5 or $6 a month, whatever. But it doesn't give you the option. If you have that, it doesn't give you necessarily the option to pay for it all at once. I wasn't going to go and message Amazon about this. I just wasn't. But anyway, because it's a pandemic, and I get food stamps. I'm not ashamed. I don't care.
Me either. I'm so thankful for my $16.
I'm so thankful for my $16. That's my chocolate budget every month.
I bought coffee and tea with
How
mine.
generous, because I make what I make on unemployment, which isn't enough. It's not even enough to pay my rent. It's just I'm so thankful for the $16. That's all I have to say.
No, I don't want to be so bitchy about, but I was
whatever.
I was well.
I still have a point with what I was going to say.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right.
Continue.
Sorry, I know this is turning into a little long-winded. I don't mean for it to be. So anyway, the payment now, if you pay monthly, is $14.99 a month. If you pay monthly for Amazon Prime, but if you pay for the year all at once, it's $120 or
Cheaper.
whatever, and it's cheaper. But tell me who, a mom, or even a single person, somebody with a kid or without a kid, or somebody who is single who has nobody in their life or no assistance or whatever, can pay $120 at any given time for one thing. That's a lot of money.
I am so thankful for just talking about our backgrounds, that I grew up with a mother that is, for us being as poor as we are, to being financially understanding how it works and like instill in saving your money.
Yeah, I never had that.
I didn't have that.
Because-
As fast as it came in, it went out just as fast.
And a lot of people who are poor do not understand how money works, and
How you can make money work for you.
because we've been taught, like, our whole entire education system, which is a different topic, has been taught for you to get a job,
Yeah.
not to be successful.
Absolutely.
You don't understand what money is and if it's a tool. And I know I was reading a book, The Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he was talking about how rich people work for no money and poor people work for money. Mm-hmm. And then you get into this entrepreneurial understanding, and so then you're understanding like how money actually works. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people who come from low income households, they don't understand that because our education system has been taught you get a job.
Yeah.
And then you spend.
It was always so weird to me because growing up, I grew up in like a middle class neighborhood. I wouldn't say that I grew up in an upper middle class, but it was like middle to teetering on upper middle class. And I didn't really know that people around me, I didn't really know the difference because my parents were really good at making it that we didn't know for a long time, like that they were struggling and that it was hard. And I'm thankful for that. But I also kind of wish that I hadn't been so sheltered, because when I was an adult and having to do all my own stuff, I was like, oh, there are some real consequences to this stuff if you don't pay your bills.
Yeah.
But you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We were very poor. You never really know that you're
I'm going to glue it to
poor.
your face.
Oh my God, I'm going to chop you in the throat. You never really know, as a kid, you don't really know that you're poor until I think maybe other kids let you know that you're poor.
I got called poor white trash.
We were poor white trash. Like, lived in a really crappy trailer. Like, it was bad. And, it was rather difficult, but we always had good Christmases because, like, my mother did that Walmart layaway, and she worked at Walmart.
Our grandfather always made sure that we had a great Christmas.
Yeah, and my aunt would send us stuff for school. Like, it was hard going through that because, sometimes you don't get to go do the other things with the kids, or, like, your shoes aren't the nice shoes, or, like, your clothes aren't the nice clothes, and so... Yeah, it was a difficult time, and then I basically started working at 13 to help pay the bills because, not to get all like traumatic and stuff, but my home life was not very good, and so I did what I had to do, and I really have I'm working on it now. I think I'm just now getting to a point where I'm understanding how to utilize money, which is why I think my perception of it is changing. But I didn't really have a leg to stand on in regards to any types of ways of, I guess, controlling your finances.
Yeah. Ours was like, we were very poor, but my mom was just like, I grew up just like a little bit, we were super poor, but her understanding of money was like a little bit higher. Save everything. Like save, work, save. And so that's kind of like just like the step above instead of just like not understanding money. But like, I think as you get older, especially, we're so fortunate in this era that we have all of this technology and all this understanding to like really research how things work.
Yes.
We have the resources to get ourselves educated because, like everything in life, education is the most powerful tool.
Yeah, and then for me in 2020 when we weren't working, I just was reading. I was taking constitutional law and finance classes and all this kind of stuff just so that I'm like, okay, we don't know how long we're going to be in here, so let me like glean as much information as I possibly can in this season so when we come out, I understand just a little bit more.
Yeah,
I unfortunately had like a big trauma response. So I was like really like focus on like my career, like my acting career, because I wanted to learn more about that. Because I was like, when this business starts up again, I'm your girl. I'm ready. So I did lean into that. But there were things that I wanted to do, like read more about finances and constitutional law and things like the things that you're talking about. I mean, I can still do it, obviously.
I think it's all a trauma, because
Absolutely.
like you went into like, let me get my life together for my career, and I'm like, let me figure out how rich people get rich, so I can get rich, so I can get wealthy, and I can understand how the players move in this industry,
right.
So I think all of it was, and even if you like took the time to just like make it through, that's such a big thing.
We're here. We made it.
Like, even
I
if
know,
you
right?
like, even if you didn't make like money moves or whatever, like just surviving is such a huge thing.
Getting yourself year to year and staying alive, that is a accomplishment in itself.
I don't know how people, like, I think I'm 30, and I think of like when my mother was 30, she had 2 children.
I think about that stuff
I don't know
too.
how she did it. Like,
Oh my gosh.
I can't even take care of myself. Like,
yes, that's
and
literally what I
so
tell
like you
myself.
see
How
all
could
of
I
these
have a child?
people, like, and I was talking to her, I'm like, how did you do it? And she was like, you don't think, which that's so true, in like the culture that I was brought up in. Like, you do not have time to think about like all the negative things that are happening because you've got to move from A to B.
Yeah.
But just like, I have no children, but like, how do you do it? I don't get it.
Having a dog is hard enough.
I know. I know.
Well, I'd like to, it's about that time to wrap up our conversation.
Bye.
So, in wrapping this up, is there anything you want to add last minute, say about being young and checkless, what you want to accomplish this year, anything like that?
Well, accomplish this year?
Sure. Putting the microphone properly placed in front of your face.
I will have to glue it to my face. I've experienced such a growth within inside myself, and like a strength and a confidence that I have found where I feel like I'm capable of doing things. And so my goal this year is to actually get myself on a path that will lead me to success in my life. And yes, that be financial, where I can, buy a pizza and not, regret it. But also, I want to make sure that I'm happy and that I enjoy it, because the thing that this has taught me the most during this quarantine process is that life is so short, and, you're not guaranteed a tomorrow. And so I want to make sure that in my choices moving forward, that I am enjoying every day that I can to the fullest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my goal.
That sounds great. Christian.
I love that journey for you.
I love that journey for you. The light in me respects the light in you. Or whatever that saying is, I forget.
Yeah, I like that.
My soul honors your soul, or something like that. I can't remember.
Teach a man to fish.
Oh God. I think for me, like, I agree with that, but I think for me is to
he's snoring.
Our little pod dog, he's asleep in his kennel because he's not always very friendly.
Oh, he's awake. He's like seeking attention right now. He's pretending to snore.
But just,
that was his deep breath in.
Yeah,
sorry.
his little poochie.
Little Poochie. Little Poochino.
What was I saying?
You were talking about what you want to accomplish this year.
Oh, yeah. Just like, how do I show gratitude to the people who've came before me? And how do I lift the future generation?
Yes.
I love that.
How do I lift them, like, financially? How does my life, like, catapult them into a better, like, understanding a better situation so that they don't have to go through all of the steps that I had to?
I think that's a lot of like what our parents wanted for us
Yeah.
too. That's what we're supposed to kind of.
Because each generation is supposed to lift the
next.
next one up.
Yeah. I think mine is very similar. I want to continue to create opportunities for the people that I love and care about, and including the people in this room.
Aw.
And also
I'm just kidding.
keep creating opportunities for those that I care about, keep creating art, keep inspiring people, even if it's just one other person, and, you know, keep my stuff together and be, you know, financially more free. I was able to do a lot of that last year, thankfully.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's why I don't have a lot of money right now, because I really was working toward being out of that hole so that I could move forward, and I can go, and I want to be able to show gratitude for those who paved the way for me before, and I want to show gratitude to those that have helped me, are with me, and will continue to be with me going forward.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
I love that. So,
I love
Thanks
that
for
journey
listening
for
to
you.
us,
for
guys.
listening. Young in Checkless. Catch you next time.
Peace out.
Bye.